Welcome to the GSMC Pets Podcast, the show that caters to pet lovers of all kinds. We'll talk about pets on social media, pets doing amazing things, and how to take care of the pets in your life. Whether your pet is a dog, a cat, a llama, hamster, reptile, or something more exotic, you'll find educational and entertaining information on the GSMC Pets Podcast.
Folks, we're back. We are back. What a lovely May it is, or has been. We're getting pretty close to the end here, huh? What is it, the 22nd? Yeah. Folks, welcome back to the GSMC Pet Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network. I am your host, Taylor Cowan. We got a lot to get to today, my friends. I hope you had a fun week. I certainly did. Today, we're going to start things off by talking about the length of your pet's life. How long can you handle it? How long do you want it? Can you keep it together for the entire span? What kind of pet are you looking for as far as life expectancy goes? And it's something to think about, what if you're planning on moving to Afghanistan in a few years. You're not going to want to take a dog with you, perhaps. Might be a bit of an issue. So we're going to go through some popular pets and talk about their average lifespans, just so you have an idea in case you're planning on purchasing one of these animals. And, we'll go from, I'm thinking we're going to go from short to long. Is the way I've kind of set this list up. So let's start with one of the shortest, the mouse. These small rodents make good pets as they are easy to care for and they bond with their owners. I don't know if I believe that. Usually given as a first pet, these short-lived creatures with an average lifespan of 1 to 3 years, if cared for properly, they can live up to 5 years. So keep that long. Honestly, if you're going to get a pet, expect to have it for at least 5 years. Any pet. And 1 to 3 years, if not cared for properly. So be a good person. Care for your mouse properly, even though it's a mouse. And it has black, beady, devilish eyes. Right after that is the hamster. Basically a mouse, right? I have a hard time distinguishing the two. As far as like temperament goes, and I don't know, they all look the same to me. These little critters, like mice, are easy to care for and have an average lifespan of 2 to 3 years. The dwarf hamster live around 2, while regular hamsters can reach up to 4 years. It'd be weird to have a lifespan that short. You'd have to get a lot done in that time. A lot of, I don't know, what do they nestle in? Hay. Next is the gerbil, basically a hamster. Frankly, I didn't know there was much of a difference at all. Another good first pet, the gerbil, a relatively perky and social desert mouse. Gerbils are odorless and quiet with a lifespan of 2 to 4 years, although some have reached the ripe old age of 6. Wow. Isn't that interesting? And I like the odorless part. Because I've been in rooms where there's a hamster that doesn't smell good. It's like my buddy had these flying squirrels once, and I forget what they're called. I'll remember it later. Flying squirrels. And they just stunk to high heavens in the whole basement just reeked. And they're a weird pet. They don't really want to be near you. They don't want to cuddle or touch you or have anything to do with you besides eat the food you bring them. So gerbils, we got maybe 6 years old, if you're lucky. Next is the rat. cousin of the mouse. I believe that might not be correct. Rats. These are very intelligent mammals, commonly blamed for starting the bubonic plague. It was really the fault of the fleas the rats carried. Ah, well, fancy that. Always got a bad rap throughout history. Of course rats have gotten a bad rap throughout history. They're rats. The word rat is associated with just even a bad person. Rats require lots of interaction and exercise to keep them happy. They're alert, friendly, and they readily bond with their owners. Although they have an average lifespan of 2 to 4 years, with proper care, rats can live up to 7. Wow. 7 years. That's 1 more year than a gerbil. Next is the hedgehog. Prickly, cute, and easily cared for is the hedgehog. Although not a good pet for a young child because their quills can become prickly if handled rough, the hedgehog can grow to as old as 8, with their average lifespan being 4 to 6 years of age. So that's not bad, honestly. That's like big dogs kind of live about that long, right? We'll find out. It's later down on the list. We got the guinea pig, commonly known as the whistle pig. The guinea pig is a bit larger than the mouse, hamster, and gerbil. They're social and friendly and enjoy time spent with their owner. Although a bit more difficult to care for than the aforementioned animals, their average lifespan is about 5 years. Although the longest living guinea pig has been recorded as being 14 years old. My friends, 14 years old. That's a long time. It's a lot different than the average of 5. That's almost 3 times as long. So, be prepared. Be prepared for a long-living guinea pig if you decide to get one of those. Next is the ferret, the long guinea pig. Not a rodent, but in the same way family as the weasel. What is a weasel? I've never seen a weasel. I've only ever been called one. The ferret has a slightly musky odor and are extremely playful and curious. They sleep around 20 hours a day, and they require regular exercise. They are, however, prone to cancer, but a well-bred and cared-for ferret can live to be over 10. Their average lifespan is 5 to 7 years of age. It's a long time to have a ferret, 10 years. To be quite honest, and prone to cancer, too, no offense, but if your ferret gets cancer, you're putting it down. I'm not doing ferret chemo. Next is the squirrel, which isn't really a pet. I don't know. I keep seeing this on pet lists, and I feel like they don't make good pets. They're not domesticated. They make a mess. They run around. It's a less domesticated ferret that might be more likely to bite and scratch you. I've never thought of a squirrel as a pet. Yeah, me either. But apparently they are sometimes kept as such and can live up to 16 years. Many pros and cons exist about squirrels being a good pet. And that's all it has to say about that. This isn't my list, by the way. I found this list online. I wasn't going to go do all the research. It's too easy to just type it in on Google. And 16 years, ouch. That's a long time. I wonder, what does an old squirrel act like? Does it chill out a bit? Because I think a young squirrel would be pretty rough to have, and you'd want to have it from a young age. I would assume you'd want to have the squirrel from a young age, where it's just gonna be annoying. It's not gonna love you. It's not gonna be used to people. Next on the list, the fish. Not the most cuddly of pets, but certainly attractive and beautiful without too much fuss. Fish are usually happy if their environment is kept clean and they are daily fed. A goldfish can survive for 25 years or more when properly cared for and not stressed. I'm not used to that. The goldfish, frankly, I'm used to. You bring it home from the fair, and it's down the toilet the next day. Average lifespans can be 1 to 10 years, depending upon what fish you buy. Or 25 years or more if you're a goldfish, apparently. We got a lot more list here to come. Let's take a quick break. Listen to some messages. Talk to you in a minute.
You really can't underestimate the importance of having the right creative work for your brand or your product. Whether it's a logo, a website, a book cover, or an ad campaign, you really need a quality design to make that big difference pop and deliver your overall engagement and success in a competitive market. That's where Design Crowd comes in. Design Crowd has over 750,000 designers from Sydney to San Francisco, ready to help you with awesome creative ideas. They make crowdsourcing work for you. So if you need a logo or you're working on your creative branding, you can go to designcrowd.com and post a brief describing the design you need. And then within about 2 to 7 days, you'll receive up to over 100 different designs from designers around the world. Then you pick the best design and approve payment to the designer. So you're only paying for the design that you want. It takes a lot of the guesswork out of freelancing and out of crowdsourcing. And you don't have to be a huge company like Harvard Business School to use Design Crowd, although they have used it as well. You can start a project on Design Crowd for as little as $99. And if you go right now to designcrowd.com/health and wellness or enter the promo code health and wellness on their website, then our health and wellness listeners will receive up to $150 off of your design project. That's designcrowd.com/health and wellness or entering that promo code health and wellness.
Are you tired of the same old news? Are you sick of the seemingly endless political spin and negativity? The GSMC America Still Beautiful podcast is a weekly news podcast covering all the top positive and uplifting news stories. We cover stories that will inspire, uplift, and remind you of the good in the world. Tune into the Golden State Media Concepts America Still Beautiful podcast to get all the great and positive news stories of today. Download the GSMC America Still Beautiful podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, Google Play, or anywhere you find podcasts. Just type GSMC in the search bar.
Back again, folks. Welcome. Where did we leave off? Fish. That's right. Anywhere from 25 years or more, or 1 to 10 years. Or as I'm more common, or used to, about 3 days. About 3 days is how long my fish have lived in the past. Next on the list, we got lizards. Some reptiles, like lizards, are difficult to keep because environmental manipulation is necessary to keep them healthy. Take your pick from a wide variety of species, from tiny geckos to the gargantuan monitor lizards. Lifespans of lizards range from 3, the chameleon, into their 30s, the gecko, depending on the species. So, the chameleons only live for 3 years? Really? That's kind of lame. They're really expensive. I don't recommend getting a chameleon. They're really hard to keep. They're really expensive, and they only live for 3 years. So you don't have much to look forward to. Next is snakes. This reptile, like the lizard, requires environmental manipulation to keep them healthy. If cared for and handled proper, the snake can make an exciting pet. Snakes live to be over 30 years under the proper conditions, but they are very finicky animals. The average lifespan is 10 to 15 years old. So, that's fine. And I think the bigger ones live longer. Don't quote me on that. Finally, our friend, the dog. The dog is the oldest domesticated animal, and I dare say, one of the most popular first pet choices ever. Dogs are loving, loyal, playful, and require regular exercise. The lifespan of the dog varies from breed to breed, with small dogs living into their 20s and the largest breeds living from 8 to 10 years. Proper health care, diet, and their living environment are also contributing factors that can add or subtract from their average 6 to 15-year lifespan. So we got a good pet there. And, 6 to 15 years, I think my dog would be probably in the 10-year range. Has half breed of a dog that doesn't live very long. The Bernese Mountain Dog. And then his other half lives like fairly long, 14 years maybe. I'm hoping for the latter. I'm thinking Ozzy's going to make it a good 14 years. Crossing my fingers. Next on the list, we have cats. Cats are probably my second favorite next to the dog. Not very creative, I know. These social animals are one of the most popular pets, which provide a good balance between intelligence and independence. They are litter trainable animals that make exceptional companions without being too demanding. That's my favorite part about them. They're off your back. Ozzy's constantly in need of something. My cats could care less if I never came home again. Cats, like the dog or any domesticated animal for that matter, can live longer with the proper environment, healthcare, and food provided. Indoor cats tend to live longer than outdoor cats due to limited exposure to predators and disease. The average cat lifespan ranges from 10 to 15 years, with some reaching into their 20s. Wow. And I've heard of cats even going longer. Like, I think I've had friends who've had cats that have lived to be like 25. Some are 30. So cats are crazy creatures. Rabbits. Cute, docile, and fairly low maintenance is the rabbit. Although a bit skittish, a rabbit could very well bond with its owner and enjoy human contact. My girlfriend has a rabbit, and I don't know, it kind of stinks, and you can't pick it up, it scratches you. Rabbits are usually kept indoors, and with proper health care and feeding can live into their teens. A rabbit's average lifespan is 8 to 12 years. Be happy we're not rabbits, folks. Next on the list, birds. These fairly small, highly intelligent animals make popular pets and can live very long, with some parrot species reaching the 100-year mark and beyond. So get that will ready. Keep in mind, if you hate noise, chirping, or even talking, a bird may not be for you. The lifespans vary largely from species to species, with lovebirds reaching 10 years. The parakeet, 10 to 15 years. The cockatoo, 30 to 40 years. And the macaw, 30 to 50 years. I'm not even 30 years old. I could have a macaw from the day I was born and still expect it to maybe live for another 20 years. 30 is the minimum. That's crazy. That's craziness. That would be kind of cool, though. I kind of want to get one now. And then I'll have it till I'm 80, probably, if it lives the full 50 years. Turtles. Controlling their environment and keeping them safe is the prime directive for the aquatic turtle. The box turtle and tortoise owner. Turtles make great pets, with turtles living up to 30 years. And the land-dwelling tortoise living feasibly hundreds of years. So unless you're Methuselah, I don't know who that is. I'm just going to say Abraham. That's more of a reference that I feel like more people will get than Methuselah. You can be assured a tortoise will be willed to some lucky family member. The common pet tortoise, however, will generally live into its 70s. The box turtle, although sometimes referred to as a box tortoise, are members of the American pond turtle family and not the tortoise family. Box turtles have an average lifespan of about 123 years. So make sure you have, someone to pass that thing on to. 123 years old? That's insane. It just eats leaves. How does it pull that off? And how do you, I don't know. It would be hard to part with a turtle. Does it care when you go, when you don't show up again? Does it know? It probably knows. If it's been around you for 100 years, it probably knows. And finally on the list, we have swans. A bit exotic, the swan, and requiring special attention and feeding. The swan could be a good pet if you have a pond in your garden. They can live up to 102 years with good care, and let's face it, a swan is beautiful. 102 years the swan lives? How long does a duck live, or a goose? Does a goose live that long? I can't imagine it does. Now, there you have it, folks. That's the whole list, pretty much. You know what was not on this list that I feel like should be on it? The horse. Horses, I know, live anywhere like 25 to 30 years old. So I believe that should be on the list. The horse as well. We're going to take another quick break here. When we get back, we're going to talk about not just the longest living pets, but the longest living animals on Earth. Yes. These are they live forever, essentially, according to the list. So stick around. I'll talk to you in just a second.
You really can't underestimate the importance of having the right creative work for your brand or your product. Whether it's a logo, a website, a book cover, or an ad campaign, you really need a quality design to make that big difference pop and deliver your overall engagement and success in a competitive market. That's where Design Crowd comes in. Design Crowd has over 750,000 designers from Sydney to San Francisco ready to help you with awesome creative ideas. They make crowdsourcing work for you. So if you need a logo or you're working on your creative branding, you can go to designcrowd.com and post a brief describing the design you need. And then within about 2 to 7 days, you'll receive up to over 100 different designs from designers around the world. Then you pick the best design and approve payment to the designer. So you're only paying for the design that you want. It takes a lot of the guesswork out of freelancing and out of crowdsourcing. And you don't have to be a huge company like Harvard Business School to use Design Crowd, although they have used it as well. You can start a project on Design Crowd for as little as $99. And if you go right now to designcrowd.com/health and wellness or enter the promo code health and wellness on their website, then our health and wellness listeners will receive up to $150 off of your design project. That's designcrowd.com/health and wellness or entering that promo code health and wellness.
Tired of searching the vast jungle of podcasts? Now listen close and hear this out. There's a podcast network that covers just about everything that you've been searching. Hey! The Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network is here. Nothing less than a podcast bliss with endless hours of podcast coverage. From news, sports, music, fashion, cooking, entertainment, fantasy, football, and so much more. So stop lurking around and go straight out to the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. Guaranteed to fill that podcast itch. Whatever it may be. Visit us at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter and download us on iTunes, SoundCloud, and Google Play.
We are back, friends. We are talking about longest living creatures on the planet. We just went through our pets. Which You know, your best bet for a pet is about 100 years, which isn't bad. That's a lot longer than most live. So, you know, if you want one forever, get a tortoise. But now we're going to go into something a little different here. These things aren't typically pets. Some of them are, and I think the macaw is again on this list, and probably the tortoise. But let's find out. Number 10 in the top living animals ever. Number 10 is the red sea urchin. Scary looking beast. And I feel like it's always a bad guy in the video games I play. Red sea urchins are believed to be almost immortal. Almost. They are found in the shallow water of the Pacific Ocean along the west coast of North America. These small, spiny creatures have been known to live for more than 200 years. Yes, folks, 200 years. Can you believe that? I hardly can. What do they do for 200 years? Do they have thoughts? Are they on some whole other plane of existence? What do they eat? I don't know, but I wouldn't want to step on one. Number 9 is the koi fish. This is one that could be a pet. You know, we talked about fish earlier. Didn't really talk about koi fish necessarily. It's more of a pond thing. It's more of a, what would you call it? Cosmetic pet. Number 9, the koi fish. Koi usually live for 25 to 30 years. Well, that's not that long. But there are reports of koi that have reached ages of over 200 years old. One famous koi in Japan named Hanako died in 1977. And a study of the growth rings of one of her scales reported that she was 226 years old. That made her older than the United States of America at the time. That's insane. 226 for a fish, for a koi fish. That must have been a really well-kept pond. Well, freshly purified water. I don't know who was kept the pond, but they did an amazing job. Just a phenomenal job. Next, number 8. Oh, this thing is a monster. Is the longfin eel. Native to New Zealand and Australia, these eels often live to 60 years old, with the oldest living longfin eel recorded as being 106 years old. Like the Greenland shark, these fish grow very slowly, which is why they can grow so old. It's really gross looking. I don't like it. Eels in general. I eat eel. I work at a sushi restaurant and I eat eel there, but when I look at it, it makes me not want to eat it anymore. They're just so slimy and slithery. Ugh, it gives me chills. It gives me chills talking about eels. They're scary. Eels are scary. And they're also always the bad guy in the movies. What are the ones in Little Mermaid? I forget their names. Something Toil and Trouble or something. Gross. I saw a video of a guy just feeding eels, and he was just like throwing food into this riverbank, and they were just slithering all over each other and trying to climb up to the shore. It was a horrifying show. A horrifying show. Next, our old friend was on the previous list, the macaw. Macaws can live up to 60 to 80 years, while their breeding age ranges from 30 to 35 years. That's not a lot of breeding time. Unfortunately, the majority of macaws are now endangered in the wild, and few are already extinct due to habitat degradation and the illegal pet trade. Well, that just pisses me off. And it's a beautiful bird. Blue and green and yellow, like great colors. It's got the white face with the little black marks on it. It's a beautiful bird. And I think these are some of the best talkers, too. It's like the Pollywannacracker parrot. pretty much. That's unfortunate that they are so endangered, nearly extinct. Number 6, we have the African elephant. Now, everyone's familiar with this guy. We all want to be an African elephant. This is, everyone wants to touch one, everyone wants to hang out with one. It's one of the most family-friendly pets. What's that movie? Dumbo, baby. Dumbo. The largest surviving land animals have an average lifespan of 70 years. And a recent Zimbabwean study has found that female African elephants can potentially remain fertile until their death. Well, that's good. That gives us a little more chance of survival. What else we got about elephants here? Super social. I've read or watched movies before that say that they will revisit places that their elephant brethren have died and mourn. It's pretty crazy. How do we know that elephants are intelligent? Elephants have displayed complex behaviors, indicating that they feel empathy for others and are capable of demonstrating other emotions, including grief. They are able to use tools and recognize themselves using mirrors. Self-recognition indicates a very high level of awareness. Only cetaceans, magpies, humans, and other primates have so far been found to recognize themselves in mirrors. So that's like dolphins. Magpies could. That's interesting. Just magpies are, for being intelligent, they can be quite obnoxious. And what's the difference? The African elephant is the largest, with huge ears and unisex tusks. The Asian elephant has large body too, but with smaller ears. The females also do not develop tusks for the Asian elephants. I think the Asian elephant, it's like more of a rounded back. What is Dumbo? Is Dumbo an African elephant or an Asian elephant? Who knows? As the largest land mammal, the elephant also has the longest pregnancy at 22 months. Oh my God. Newborn calves weigh around 90 kilograms and are about 3 feet tall. It is believed that years ago there were more than 300 species of elephant. However, today there only remains 2, the Asian and African species. Oh. How many years ago was there? Hundreds. Elephants are smart, social, incredibly strong creatures. As an elephant's trunk is so powerful and precise that it can carry calves and be used for more delicate acts like picking flowers. Aw. Fun. I've seen elephants paint before. That's pretty fun. Might be about time to take another break here. Yes, it is about time to take another break here. We got 5 more creatures on the longest living species list, and then after that we'll talk about some of the more recent animal stories, including some sad news about Oprah's dog. Stick around. See you in a sec.
Is weird, odd, strange, or just plain bizarre is really your cup of tea? Then the Golden State Media Concepts Weird News Podcast will give you that fix. Can't believe it? Well, listen for yourself as we deliver the strangest news you definitely won't find on CNN or Fox. It's the Golden State Media Concepts Weird News Podcast.
Alrighty, we are back, folks. We are back. We are about 5 animals in. Last one we talked about is the African elephant. It lives up to 70 years. Average lifespan of 70 years. Who knows how long they can live? Probably 100 at least. If the average is 70, I guarantee there's an elephant that's lived to 100. Next on the list, however, the Galapagos giant tortoise. We talked about some other tortoises, more pet tortoises. But this is the Galapagos giant tortoise, a little different. This guy is pretty old school. The largest living species of tortoise that can survive well past 100, with the oldest recorded at 152. The most famous Galapagos tortoise was Lonesome George, a subspecies who lived on the islands. He was 100 years old and still classed as a young adult. He had become an ambassador of sorts for the islands off the coast of Ecuador, whose unique flora and fauna helped inspire Charles Darwin's theories on evolution. Lonesome George, I've heard of Lonesome George. And a young adult at 100 years old. Wow. I'm 27. Do I still count as a young adult, or am I just an adult now? I'm going to call myself a young adult. I feel young. 7 is the bowhead whale. 4 is the bowhead whale. Bowhead whales have an average lifespan of 200 years. One whale was even found with fragments of a harpoon dating back to the 1800s in its blubber. They spend their lives in the Arctic and subarctic and are the 5th largest marine mammal. I feel like anything that lives in subarctic temperatures, I mean, that just like freezes your body, you know? It keeps you fresh. It's like putting food in the freezer. It potentially lasts forever. I wonder if people who live in Alaska live longer because of this. I don't know. And frankly, I don't really care to find out. Number 3 is the Greenland shark. These sharks can reach ages of 200 years old, although one individual was found that was 400 years old, making it the oldest vertebrate in the world. They live so long because they grow very slowly. They grow about 1 centimeter a year and reach maturity at about 100 years old. That's a long childhood there. That's a long puberty. To be quite honest, I don't know if I could have made it if my puberty had lasted that long. And you know, it's a Greenland shark. It just swims around at the bottom of the ocean. Is this a mean shark? Sharks freak me out. Does this one eat meat? Does this one attack people? That's all I want to know. Number 2. We're getting close to the number 1. The ocean quahog. Quahog. I think that's how you say that. Quahog. Quahog. Some collected specimens have been calculated to be more than 400 years old. These animals show exceptional longevity, with the highest reported age for Ming the clam of 507 years. The clam so named as it would have been alive during the Ming Chinese dynasty. What? 507 years old? Are you insane? That's too long. I don't want to live that long. I could though, if I was healthy. Like, I'm trying to calculate here. So if I lived to be 400, 25 would be like 100 years old. That would be kind of nice, actually, but I'd still be in elementary school right now, which probably be getting pretty old. Next is the immortal jellyfish. A very unique jellyfish which can revert back to its premature state when exposed to stress or injury. Whilst this means it's biologically immortal, in practice they don't live forever and get injured and eaten just like other animals. So, what? It just lives forever? Let's see here. Jellyfish are said to be biologically immortal, which means that if their body starts to deteriorate through age or damage, then it is able to regenerate itself. Why aren't we studying this more? Why aren't we finding a way to live forever? Let's read some facts about jellyfish. They are free-swimming animals that use their pulsing jelly-like bell to move and use their trailing tentacles to capture prey. Jellyfish are the oldest multi-organ animal, roaming the seas for over 700 million years. Jellyfish are found in every ocean around the world and prefer to live in coastal areas. Some jellyfish are harmless to humans, but others have venom that can be very deadly. The box jellyfish is one of the most venomous animals on the planet. Although fatalities are rare due to its anti-venoms and treatments available, a box jellyfish sting has the potential to cause a heart attack and death within 5 minutes. Well, how do you get the anti-venom into them that fast? A group of jellyfish is called a bloom, and sometimes, unofficially, a smack. That's fun. Jellyfish are approximately 95 to 98% water and have no eyes, ears, mouth, heart, or brain, and have no bones, spine, making them invertebrates. They do not require hearts or lungs because their skin is so thin oxygen can pass easily through into their body. This is known as diffusion. They also do not need a brain and eyes, as they have a set of nerves on each tentacles that detect things like touch and temperature and cells sensitive to light. The jellyfish then responds to the stimuli like reflexes and position themselves accordingly. This is insane. Jellyfish are carnivorous and feed on plankton, small organisms that live in the water, small fish, crustaceans, and sometimes other jellyfish species. Wow. So are all jellyfish immortal, or is the immortal jellyfish just it's a very unique jellyfish? That's amazing. Why can't we do that? Why, when I'm not stressed, I mean, in a way, some people do that. When they're stressed, they, knocked my table. When they're stressed, they, revert into a premature state. My girlfriend does that sometimes. When she's stressed or angry at me, she reverts into a childlike state that is hard to manage. However, unfortunately, it doesn't add any years to her life. But I don't know. Would you take that? Question for the audience. Would you take being young again? Like every time you were injured, you could heal yourself, but you had to revert back to young age. So, which means you probably couldn't, work your job anymore. You'd probably have to go to school all over again. But you'd get a second chance at life. I don't know if your brain would be able to revert back with you. Jellyfish don't have brains, so we can't study that. It seems like it'd be cheating if you got to keep your same smartness, but you just got a fresh brain. You would be the smartest thing ever alive, ever. Well, that's neither here nor there, folks. We're going to take another quick break. We'll be back with the news. Talk to you in a sec.
The Golden State Media Concepts Travel Podcast, the show that gives you advice on everything travel. We explore places you've always wanted to go, as well as giving tips for traveling in those places. We'll give you advice on the best sites for travel tips, information, and discounts. Join us as we travel the world, explore cultures, and meet new people. The Golden State Media Concepts Travel Podcast has got you covered. Download the GSMC Travel Podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, Google Play, or anywhere you find podcasts. Just type GSMC in the search bar.
Howdy, folks. We're making it near the end. Got a couple more segments left. We're going to talk about the news for the rest of the episode, the pet news. And we have some unfortunate news out of Hollywood. Jeez, my phone keeps giving me notifications. Oprah reveals her dog Sadie is in quarantine over coronavirus fears. Yes. I don't know how, where she took her dog, Sadie. Let's read. Oprah Winfrey has revealed that one of her dogs is currently being quarantined during an Instagram Live edition of the OG Chronicles, a video series in which Winfrey and her friend Gayle King give advice to fans. The media mogul said that her Cocker Spaniel named Sadie is self-isolating in her guest house as she is concerned the dog might have coronavirus. Winfrey said that Sadie had recently visited the vet because of an eye infection and that she became concerned while watching the examination through a video call. The vet started out with her mask on, but then took the mask off while she was doing Sadie's eyes, literally talking directly into her eye. I may be going too far, but I'm just being extra, extra, extra careful. Are you kidding me? This can't be the story. This can't be the story. The vet talked into the dog's eye, and now she's concerned that it has COVID. Oh, my goodness. Craziness. The 66-year-old added that she's taking extra precautions because she suffered from pneumonia last year and is still recovering from all the bronchial stuff. While King explained that she did not think pets can infect their owners, Winfrey interrupted and said, I heard about a pug in New York. We don't know that. And I heard about 2 cats. Yeah, the cats have it. But I don't know if the people got it from the cats. I think we talked about this story a couple of weeks ago. Winfrey also revealed that she has canceled all of her plans through the remainder of 2020 in a bid to protect herself from the virus. That's fine. Do what you gotta do. I've canceled everything on my calendar outside my gates through the rest of the year, including O's magazine's 20th anniversary party, she said. I just don't think it's going to be safe in a large group setting until the virus is over in every form. I will not be leaving these gates this summer. I might poke my nose out in the fall, but I'm going to wait and see. I mean, she's got a really nice place to live. I'm sure she's happy. Winfrey's concerns follow news that in February, a pet dog in Hong Kong tested weak positive for coronavirus and was placed into quarantine. The Agricultural Fisheries and Conservation Department, AFCD, in Hong Kong confirmed that the repeated tests suggest the dog had a low level of the virus and that it was likely to be the case of human-to-animal transmission. According to the Centers of Disease Control and Prevention, there is currently no evidence to think that any animals, including pets, might be a source of infection with this new coronavirus. So what are we doing? Her poor dog, locked in the guest house. On 13th of March, the World Health Organization agreed, adding that at present there is no evidence that companion animals / pets such as dogs or cats can be infected with the new coronavirus, however, who later advised people to wash their hands with soap and water after contact with your pets. This protects you against various common bacteria such as E. coli and Salmonella, which can pass between pets and humans. Wow. That was the most non-story I've ever heard. Who cares? Oprah, chill out, dude. Your vet took the mask off and breathed into your dog's eye. Sadie's going to be fine. You're doing Sadie a disservice by how long are you going to quarantine her for? Is my question. 3 weeks? Your old dog, is going to have to be alone and sad in a guest house? Come on. Well, that's that. And here's another story that I think kind of ties into that. Queens Corgi trainer, Queens, the borough in New York, Queens Corgi trainer says dogs will suffer from severe separation anxiety after coronavirus lockdown ends. Now Oprah's just going to expose her dog to this separation anxiety right now. So we'll see how that goes. But this is important because the lockdown's ending in most everywhere around the state, in my opinion. Well, around the country. And it's not my opinion, it's actually happening. While the coronavirus-imposed lockdown may be frustrating to some people, dogs have been enjoying the constant companionship of their owners. But once the risk of spreading the virus has been contained and people begin to resume their daily routines, the impact on the lives of dogs may be severe. According to Queen Elizabeth II's Corgi trainer, it was the actual, I thought it was Queens, New York, like a trainer out of Queens, New York. No, this is Queen Elizabeth's Corgi trainer. pups may suffer from severe social anxiety once social distancing has ended, as they built up a huge reservoir of overdependency. Speaking to The Times, Dr. Roger Mugford, an animal psychologist, explained, with such an overload of quality time with their families, dogs are building up huge reservoir of overdependency, which could see them suffer when moms and dads suddenly return to work with the children go back to school. The distress could manifest itself in a variety of ways. According to Dr. Mugford, who said that when left alone, pet dogs can chew furniture, bark, go to the bathroom inside, and sometimes even self-harm. Put a webcam on your dog and you'll see howling and pacing and other distress signs. To help furry friends ease into the unavoidable separation that will occur when social distancing measures are lifted, Dr. Mugford recommends owners begin now by separating themselves from their pets for 30 minutes at a time, several times a day. The reminder to consider how dogs will respond to the return to daily life comes amid an increase in pet adoption numbers in countries around the world as people look to animals as a source of comfort. One great thing about owning a pet is that they can offer unconditional love and friendship, which is more important than ever in these challenging and uncertain times. Vet nurse Joanne Wright from the UK's leading vet charity PDSA previously told The Independent. Research from PDSA found that 84% of pet owners report that having a pet has had a positive impact on their mental health. The feelings are mutual, according to Wright, who added, "What's even better is that many of our animals who may otherwise been left alone for extended periods of time will also be able to enjoy lots of company and fuss at home. If your dog does experience anxiety when they aren't alone." As a study published in March 2020 by researchers at the University of Helsinki in Finland found that most pups suffer from anxiety. Well, there's that. There you have it, then. So, get them separated now. Take some time apart. Go drive around the block or something. Get them used to being alone, because it's time to go back to work, folks. It's time to get back on the grind. Get back to work. Don't be like Oprah. Be a real human. Get a life. We're going to take another break here. We got some more news stories coming up that may or may not be helpful to you. Stick around. I'll talk to you in a moment.
The Golden State Media Concepts Travel Podcast, the show that gives you advice on everything travel. We explore places you've always wanted to go, as well as giving tips for traveling in those places. We'll give you advice on the best sites for travel tips, information, and discounts. Join us as we travel the world, explore cultures, and meet new people. The Golden State Media Concepts Travel Podcast has got you covered. Download the GSMC Travel Podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, Google Play, or anywhere you find podcasts. Just type GSMC in the search bar.
And we are back, folks, about to wrap things up. We had a lot of fun today, right? Talked about the longest living animals and pets. Talked about Oprah's dog, which is very important. We should all be closely watching what happens with Oprah's dog, but let's do it. Whoa. Ads. Jeez, just ads. Why would I think I want to hear the ad? Give me a break. More importantly than Oprah's dog, though, Virginia Tech therapy dog gets an honorary degree after years of helping students. Where's my honorary degree? He's got a PhD in being a very good boy. Well, technically it's an honorary doctorate in veterinary medicine, but either way, Moose is a very accomplished dog. The 8-year-old Labrador Retriever has worked as a therapy dog at Virginia Tech's Cook Counseling Center since 2014. Now his years of service to students are being celebrated with an honorary degree from the Virginia Maryland College of Veterinary Medicine, which is operated by Virginia Tech and the University of Maryland at a college park. Moose was granted the degree at a virtual commencement ceremony on Friday. Moose has helped out in counseling sessions with thousands of students. His owner, Trent Davis, himself a licensed counselor, told ABC News. Davis explained that therapy dogs chiefly aid in sessions by providing extra comfort and a sense of security. Dogs provide a source of comfort and grounding, he said. For a lot of humans, unfortunately, other humans haven't always been the best to them in their lives, so dogs can be a little safer. In February, Moose was diagnosed with prostate cancer and has been undergoing treatment managed by the College of Veterinary Medicine, according to Virginia Tech press release. However, he is doing well and has since returned to work with fellow therapy dogs, Derek, Carson, and Wagner. According to his online bio, Moose was raised at New York's Guiding Eyes for the Blind, but a minor medical condition prevented him from becoming a guide dog. He was then adopted by Davis and ultimately became a therapy dog. Outside of his therapy career, Moose loves swimming, playing tug-of-war, and eating. He was also honored as the Virginia Veterinary Medical Association's Animal Hero of 2019. So there we go. That's nice. Another story back on the long-living creatures list. Why do some dogs live really long lives? New findings might provide clues. Losing a dog is a gut-wrenching experience for anyone, no matter the pup's age, and many wish their dogs could live longer lives. A recent paper in Frontiers in Genetics, a scientific publisher and researcher network, examined the genome of two dogs who lived to extremely old ages, 22 and 27 years old, and provides researchers with more information about what contributes to dogs becoming centenarians. What's a centenarian, 20 years? If we better understand the mechanism of aging in dogs, we can promote a healthier lifestyle for dogs. David Jonas, a research fellow at the Department of Ethology at Eötvös Loránd University in Budapest, Hungary, told Today via email. If pet dogs live longer and healthier, it could have positive impacts not only on the dogs themselves, but on the mental health of their owners. For this study, the researchers sequenced the DNA of two dogs, Kedvas, a 22-year-old female, and Buski, a 27-year-old male, what researchers called Methuselah's dogs. Okay, why do I keep hearing Methuselah today? These canines have a 50% longer lifespan than others. Much like human centenarians, researchers were looking for genes that they share that might explain their extended lifespan. This was the first study that investigated the genetic background of aging in dogs using whole genome sequencing methods. We made the complete DNA information of these dogs publicly available for both scientists and the general public. Jonas, the author of the paper, said, "We identified genes that are probably linked to extreme longevity in dogs." So what exactly did these genes reveal? Well, it's a little complicated. When we examined the approximately 20,000 canine genes, we found that some so-called start and stop codon mutations, which might result in disrupted gene functions. It is worth further examining these genes, first to verify that the mutations are true positives, then to investigate their biological effects as well, noted Sarah Sandor, a geneticist who is involved in the research in a press release. Some of the genes that overlapped between their two genomes are related to immunity, inflammation, and Alzheimer's in humans. These findings helped them develop a hypothesis for further research with a larger sample size of elderly dogs. A crucial genetic requirement of extreme longevity lies within the fine-tuning, i.e. superior calibration of gene expression. While it is too soon to say what the study means for the average dog owner, having a better understanding of canine aging might change how people might think of breeding dogs, says Carlos Alvarez, who is not involved with the research. One of the things that breeders would like the most is to create healthy dogs, said Alvarez, a principal investigator at the Research Institute at Nationwide Children's Hospital in Columbus, Ohio. The idea of breeding dogs to be healthy is almost overwhelming to think about. However, if you put the question in terms of lifespan, the fact that you have genetic variations that can increase or decrease lifespan, that's much easier to think about. Currently, people breed dogs to attain a certain look, such as big eyes or squishy faces. and those looks often impacts a pup's overall health. But these new understandings about aging might change how people think about dogs, Alvarez said. We selected very strongly for appearance traits, and by doing that, we made dogs more susceptible for diseases. By doing genetic studies, we can start to think about what we did and select down for health. What's more, the researchers suspect that if they understand what contributes to healthy aging in dogs, they might gain insight into how people age too. It can also contribute to better understanding of the aging process in humans as well, because dogs share the same environment with their owners, which presumably makes the obtained results more relevant and applicable to human studies. There we go. Let's breed them healthier, folks. Let's keep our dogs healthy and long-living. I'd rather have a long-living dog than a nice-looking dog. I have another article here, but we are about out of time. The next article is just on good air filters to buy if you have allergy problems. I have one in my room, and it's really, really helpful, especially with the cats. I love it. It's I forget which, my Honeywell or something. I bought mine at Walmart, and it's not on the list of the best ones, but it's a good one. Go to your place and whatever store you go to, get an air filter. If you're worried about it, it collects hair, it collects all the nastiness that pets leave in the air, and it really helps with allergies. And you can also, a good way to do it is get plants. Get a lot of plants. Because those are super. The peace lily is one that's amazing, and it loves good air, and it's easy to maintain. We barely even have to water it. Folks, that should do it for today. Stick around. Next week we'll be back. Enjoy your weekend. Thanks for tuning in to the GSMC Pet Podcast. Follow us on Twitter. Follow us on Instagram. Go to our Facebook. Leave us a 5-star review. Wherever you're listening, we need those 5-star reviews. They help us. They help us do what we do here. And again, welcome. Thanks for tuning in to the GSMC Pet Podcast. We appreciate you. Brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network. I'm your host, Taylor Cowan. I like you more than a friend. Have a good night.
You've been listening to the GSMC Pets Podcast, part of the GSMC Podcast Network. You can find this show and others like it at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Download our podcasts on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, SoundCloud, and Google Play. Just type in GSMC to find all of the shows from the GSMC Podcast Network. From movies to music, from sports to entertainment, from business news to weird news. Follow us on Twitter and Facebook. Thank you, and we hope you have enjoyed today's podcast.